I'm also welcoming our guest, Liorou Shechter. Liorou is the Chief Innovation Officer in Tel Aviv municipality, and Liorou has developed Tel Aviv-Yafo Smart City Vision. We'll talk in detail about that also. And this vision focuses on improving the quality of the residents' life via a unique residents club that focuses on giving personal and proactive services. The two other pillars of the city vision are the real-time management of the city based on residents and city supervisors' reports, and the IoT, the Internet of Things, and developing a framework to collaborate between the city and its flourishing startup ecosystem. Liorou is also a chairman of the Israeli Municipalities CIO Forum for past 5 years. Liorou, welcome to ITAPA conference.
Hi, and hello from Tel Aviv.
Thank you for joining us today. So I will start with the first question for you. You are in the position of the Chief Innovation Officer of Tel Aviv for past 9 years. What is your job, basically, if you could explain to our audience, and how Tel Aviv has changed in those 9 years?
First of all, my role is responsible for all the technology in the municipality. The internal technology and the technology that faces the residents. So developing the technology, developing the ideas, developing the concept is my responsibility. I can say that in Tel Aviv we have a unique model because we have really an IT company which is inside the municipality. So we have about 450 people that develop software for the municipality internal. So we have the capability to execute whatever we want. And I think the last part of my job is really the collaboration with the startup. And we have, as you said, a flourishing startup community in Tel Aviv. So it's really a pleasure to do something together with the innovation force of the startups.
So you're having your own IT company that is developing all the IT systems, right. And because right now in Slovakia we have a very similar discussion on how the state IT should be developed. So this is a very interesting example. How long does this company operate? 450 people. It's a lot. It's a big company, right?
Yeah, it's really a unit inside the municipality. It's not outside the municipality, and it's been there forever. So it's a concept of Tel Aviv to have its own IT capability inside. It has grown over the years, of course, because the place of IT and technology has grown over the years, but it was there for the past 50 years, I think, or so.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are there, just for our audience, because this is extremely interesting, so it's been in place for many years. Is there also some collaboration with external companies, or everything is made in-house, that you're developing everything from the start?
Of course, we have collaboration with the companies. We usually take infrastructures from companies. Infrastructure could be on the software level. For instance, our CRM is based on Microsoft Dynamics. So it's really a high-level infrastructure that we develop on top of it. So the whole developing of software is done internally. The knowledge that we do not have is really how to install sensors in the public areas, the physical stuff of the technology that we buy from external companies. And of course, if we have unique solution that we do not have the knowledge to do internally, then we first explore it outside, and then we learn how to do it internally.
Mhm. Can you mention some of the most significant innovations you are implementing or you have been developing in recent years?
Yes. So I think the most interesting concept is really the concept of residence club. The idea is that we have to move forward in the service that we give to the residents. And I will show you, I think it will be more interesting, but you will have to let me share my slides.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you try now?
Yeah, I can, and it's perfect. So I think the idea is that we have to address each one of our residents differently because each one has its own interest, its own hobbies. Is it at a specific age? If he's married or is not married, it's important. To know if he has small children, it's important as well. So each one of the residents that want to join the Residents Club of Tel Aviv, which is called Digital, can do it without any cost. And by joining, they specify a little bit about themselves in order for us to give them personalized service. And the idea behind the service is really that we proactively give them personalized information. And I will demonstrate it in a second. We are organizing a lot of free events in the city of Tel Aviv, and we invite them, again, each one according to his interests and hobbies, and all of the e-services that we developed, and we developed about 80% of the city services can be proactively offered to each one of the residents. Mm-hmm. So the idea, for instance, about information is, let's say that a water pipe has broken in your street, then we proactively send you a text message that says, hey, a water pipe has broken, we know about it, and we are dealing. We are trying to fix it. And for instance, if you have a small child and we have an activity for kids in the near community center, and we know that you live nearby and you have a small child, then again, we proactively will try to reach you and invite you to come to the store reading or show that is taking place today in the afternoon. So from the perspective of the residents, the municipality is reaching out to him, but only in things that are really interesting for them. Another example is we have a joint venture with all the theaters in the city. And if one of the shows is not full, we collect the free tickets and we proactively offer them the people that said that they like culture. And it also has to be the best offering in town, so it's 50% discount in the pricing of the ticket. So the idea is that the municipality is really trying to create value for its residents. I said that we organize a lot of events. This is one example, small event which takes place right on the rooftop of the municipality. Every Friday, there is a free yoga on the rooftop of the municipality. So it's just to demonstrate the concept that we try to bring value and things to do to our residents. And it doesn't come from a point of view of collecting more money or taxes or so on, just to bring value. Another example is really how you can pay for the beach facilities in the beaches of Tel Aviv. We have a special app for you. You collect the how much chair do you want, how much parasols, and you pay for that in your credit card. And if you are a digital member, then you have 50% discount. So everything we collect, every service that the municipality is doing, and then we try to bring more value for our residents. So you would ask if it's successful. Then we already have about 70% of the city mature population that are members in digital.
That was exactly my question. How many people do you have connected to this service?
So to have the connect directly 70% of your city population, it's a great status. We still are trying to enlarge even that number of residents. And one of the ideas was really to create sub-communities beneath digital. For instance, for parents with very small children, and we organize a lot of events and workshops for the parents and for the children. So the idea is that you have to divide your population into segments and adjust services and events and so on for each one of the segment. And that's what we are trying to do right now.
Maybe additional question is that if I would be a resident of Tel Aviv, can I communicate directly with the municipality through this service or app? Most likely it's used as an application at your smartphone. And can I also deal with certain services? For instance, can I pay a tax for my house through the app?
Mm-hmm. First of all, yes, I mentioned earlier that most of our services is already digital. I can demonstrate for a second, but about 80% of the city services are already digitally. And we have the big dilemma. You have seen digital. It's mostly about fun events. It's how the municipality can bring value to the residents. And the dilemma was, should we mix it with payment of taxes, with payment of parking fees, and so on? And we didn't want to mix the two parts of the relationship between the residents. On digital, we wanted to stay on the fun part, the value part, and to keep the, let's say, a negative perspective outside it. So you will have all of the service that we give to the residents, but right now it's not especially in digital. We kept it on a website to have differentiation between the positive and fun part that the municipality can offer. And if we would like some neat examples about the services, first of all, to get a new parking permit in Tel Aviv, you cannot come physically anymore. You address us in the website, you fill your details, and after 3 days, someone will come, knock on your door, and hand you your new permit. So we call it a service from home to home. You don't have to leave the home in order to get the service. And if something needs to be hung out to you, then we prefer to come to you and bring you the whatever needs to be delivered. So that's one example.
So you made the decision that you don't want to mix good feelings with
Right.
negative feelings, that I can get free tickets for the theater as well as I have to pay my taxes through the same
Right.
gateway.
We had a lot of discussion about it because it makes a lot of sense to have everything in one place. But when we tried to create very comprehensive apps, it was too heavy from one aspect, and then the mixture of negative and positive was a different aspect. So our decision when we develop apps is to have them very small, one targeted. Every app, like you've seen the beaches app, it has one specific target, because we understood that there are people that love to go to the sea, and someone that doesn't. And if you love the sea, then you will activate the app again and again. And if you do not like the sea, then you will not want to have that capability. So people are divided by their habits. And if we have some capability that you do not use, then it's a little bit too complicated. It shouldn't be in that perspective. So that's the idea. Kindergarten registration, 88%. Last year, school registration, 92%. We have done, for instance, a revolution in construction. If you want to see your building rights, you can do it on the web. If you can build another floor, if you can close your terrace, and
can you also issue a building permit
online? Right. The second stage is to see all of the sketches of your specific building. What are the permits that has been received for the house? So we have digitalized all of the building archive in Tel Aviv, and you can see it online. And the last stage is really to issue a new request, and that can be done only online for the past 2 years. So everything around construction is totally digitally in Tel Aviv. So it's just an example.
Are there some new services you have in mind you are about to digitalize?
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to find ones, but I think the new thing that we are trying to construct is not a traditional service. It's like we created a digital for residents. Then what we are working right now is digital for businesses. And that was accelerated because of the coronavirus, because the businesses had such a financial hit because they were closed for the past 2 months. And the municipality understand that one of the main targets right now is to help the businesses. And what we are trying to do is really create a business club and connect the residents with the businesses of the city. Create some kind of community sense that the residents will be loyal to buying in the new grocery near their home or something like that. To create a sense of community between the businesses and the people that live nearby.
Are there some things that went wrong along the way? Is there something? Are there because this kind of creating a digital environment in the municipality, it's most likely a learning process where you can do mistakes and you can learn from them. So if you would say that for Slovak towns and cities and municipalities that, okay, guys, this is something we did, it was wrong, and we learned from that, what would that be?
First of all, we are always wrong. We understand that it's part of the process. When we design a new project, we do the planning stage, but then in our mind, we understand that not everything will go as planned. And the idea is that you understand that you're doing mistakes and you have to replan every stage on the way. So that's part of our thinking. It's not something that we do not expect. It's part of the expectation that we have. And I will give you an example. When we build the residence club, As I mentioned, every resident has to specify his interests and hobbies. And what we didn't understand at the beginning was things you like in this year is changing over the years. Let's say that you like to go to the theaters and to the bars and so on, and then you get married and you have your first child. And when you have a small child in the house, you cannot go out anymore. So your preferences has changed over the years because the change in your family status and because you change your hobbies. It's okay. So what we develop is really an algorithm that learns what are your current interests. And we learn it from the offering that we post for you as a resident. And if you do not pick one of the offering, then we understand a little by little that your interest in that area has decreased. Or you have new interest if you pick something new that you didn't pick before. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that hobbies and interests shift over the years, and we have to adjust ourselves because you will not have the time to inform us about it.
Mm-hmm. Were there any surprises that you have launched something and you were expecting interest, or the other way around, that you have launched something and you were like, okay, let's test it, and then the users were like, okay, we really like this?
I will try to combine it to the startup community that we have in Tel Aviv. We understood at the beginning that collaborating with startup is very important. But during the first year that we met with startups, they had very early stage ideas. It was things that even if we invest in them for a few months, didn't come to a final product. And after 2 years or 3 years of collaboration, what we right now have in Tel Aviv are very promising ideas. I will give you one example. Let me just say that one of our goals is really to understand what is happening right now in the city, in the open spaces of the city. And in order to do that, we built an IoT devices that are on the street, but we understood that the most important device is the camera, because the camera is like the eye of a person in the streets. And if we just exclude the operational events that are interesting for the municipality, then we will not have to look every second in each one of the cameras that we have in the city. We have to use analytics. But if one of our workers is looking at the video, then there is a danger that we violate the privacy of the people that are walking on the streets. Mm-hmm. So we have to have some kind of tool in order to change the faces of the residents in the video that we have from cameras. And one startup is developing algorithm that extract the main characteristic of your face, let's say the shape of the face, the color of your skin, the shape of the hair, and so on. You extract the characteristics and create a virtual face that is based on your characteristic. Mm-hmm. And the idea is to extract the real face, inject like a face created by computer, and then we can really use the video and do whatever we want in order to understand what is happening on the street. Mm-hmm. So that's really an idea that we first didn't believe that will will come from the startup. And right now we are looking at the first demonstration of the tool, and that is something wonderful that we didn't expect from the startup community.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. It sounds really, really interesting. When speaking about real-time management of the city, that's something you work on. You said that it's a system based on the reports from inhabitants and supervisors. So how can you elaborate a bit more? How does this work, and who are these supervisors, and how an inhabitant of a Tel Aviv can report something?
Right. I will think that the best way to understand it is I will demonstrate it. First of all, this we call the tool a real-time map of the city. As you can see, it has the map of the city. Of course, you can zoom in or zoom out, and you have indicators that are relevant to your job in the municipality. And the sources of information that are building our real-time map is three kinds of data. The first one is the residents of the city. They are always walking on the street of Tel Aviv, and let's say that you as a resident have seen some hazard in the street. We have built a special app for reporting hazards, and our residents activated, and they fill a report and send the report to the municipality. We collect all the reports that were brought by the residents, and of course we divide it by type. This is about dog's poop that were on the street. So the relevant department in the municipality will see the aggregated picture of all the type of the hazard that are relevant for them. So this is the first kind of data set that we have in the real time. The second kind of data set is really IoT device. Let's say that we have a bicycle project in Tel Aviv, and each one of the station report to us and says how much bicycles are in each one of the station, how much is missing, and so on. And of course, we aggregate the data to the city level. So we can see if we have a station without bikes, and we need to bring more bikes to it, and so on. But it's just one of the examples. We have a lot of types of IoT devices like this, and every one of the devices report to the real-time tool. And we've talked about the camera, which is the most advanced tool that can create a lot of operational events that we need as a municipality. And the second kind of data source is really our supervisors that are on the streets. We have developed an application for each kind of the supervisors in the municipality. We have about 2,000 supervisors, each one with this specific app. And let's say that we have a bike here that is parking against regulation. Then our supervisors will really give them a report. And that as well will be aggregated into the real time. So what we really have is a tool that combines the residents' reports, IoT, and our workers that are on the field. So that's the best way that we can understand what is happening right now in the city. And the target is really to identify problems as soon as we can and send people to deal with them. And closing the circle in a very fast track, that is really the goal of the system.
This block of discussions and interviews is called Future Cities. How do you see Tel Aviv in the future? What would be your wish for the city? What is that extra thing, extra mile you want to take to advance the city?
So as we started in the beginning, the main focus of Tel Aviv is really the relationship with the residents. It's not only one-way relationship. We invest a lot in having bi-direction relations. So we are doing a lot of public participation events, combining the residents to decide in the big issues that we have in the municipality. So what I will imagine as the future city of Tel Aviv is really residents that are really combined to what is happening in the city. They are influencing, they are reporting problems, we are going to fix the problems. Everything is done in a very fast cycle. So we have really a municipality that is co-working with its residents. So this combination of residents and the municipality is really the future of our city.
Are there some other cities anywhere around the globe that you see as an inspiration for Tel Aviv? Where do you get your inspiration for your work? Or is it always Tel Aviv that others look upon and take the inspiration from you?
No. I think that there are good examples of cities, especially in Europe, New York as well. But I think what makes Tel Aviv unique is that we are not afraid to be wrong. We don't always have the best ideas. But the principle is you plan very fast and then you go to execute. And again, you are wrong in the way. That's part of the process. But the idea is not to be wrong. The idea is to correct it in a fast period of time and to bring really the project into success. So we have some unique project, like the Residents Club, something that we didn't see in any other city. But we can see fine examples in other cities. But the idea is to learn. It's okay to learn and copy. I think that's the slogan of our mayor. I'm not afraid to copy from other cities. Mm-hmm. As long as I make it perfect as a project of Tel Aviv. But I think collaboration is very important, learning from each other, and trying to succeed together.
Mm-hmm. Liora, what would be your recommendations to cities and municipalities in Slovakia how to become smart? And there is a sub-question for many of cities and many of municipalities, especially now in the times of upcoming economic crisis as a consequence of the pandemic. Can you be smart with limited resources?
Well, it's difficult. It's not the same. I would say that we are not a rich city, but our capability to create everything by ourselves is a really important capability, because you can focus on what's important. But if you do not have a lot of resources as a city, I think adopting startups and using small companies that do not want to gain a lot of money from combination with the municipality is a very strong recommendation for my part. We are doing that a lot. The startups needs the relationship with the municipality. It has to have its first success and first implementation in the city. And if you catch it at that point of view, that you are the first city or the second city, then you can get the solution at very low price and you can really adjust it to your specific needs. So I think that will be a nice direction.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you for the interview. We hope to welcome you one day in person at the ITAPA conference in Bratislava. You have an open invitation, and thank you for sharing all the interesting things about your work and what you do in Tel Aviv with our audience.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.